Hi guys, so I'm going to do a quick how-to on making your own ear wires. Like these right now are hooked together because they are a matching pair that I made, but you can see, obviously what we're talking about here. These are just some simple ones. I also have an example here. These are some chain dangle earrings that I made. And on this ear wire, you'll notice there's a little bead right there at the top. Just adds a little bit of, flair and uniqueness to that ear wire, and also you can make it match whatever earring you're going to be, making at that time. So, real quick, we have some 20 gauge silver wire. The specific brand is not important. You do want at least 20 or 22 gauge because that's what's going to fit in your ear comfortably. Here I have my round nose pliers. I have my chain nose pliers. And I also have my wire cutters. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is get two identical pieces of your wire. This is about just around 3 inches long. Okay, you're going to snip off a little excess whenever you do make these, so that's just a safe measurement for just about any ear wire. Obviously, if you want your wire to come down a lot longer, you want a longer piece of wire. Duh, right? So I've already cut these off of my wire. What I'm going to do now is, at the very ends, you'll notice your wire cutters are probably only going to have one flush side, and then the other side is got the curve to it. So part of your wire is going to have a slight curve at the very tip. I'm going to try to see if you can see that. But yeah, it's going to come to a little point. So what I'm going to do is just take the flush side of my cutters. Okay, so I'm going to take, sorry, I had to pause the video for a second. Busy house. I'm going to take the flush side of my cutters and go right on that, let me get down here so you can see, go right on that tip there and just snip it off. It went flying somewhere. And do the same thing on this wire. Make sure that the end is flush. Now, when you do make your ear wire, this side right here will need to be filed down, the part that pokes into your ear. Otherwise, it will kind of, a little uncomfortable when you first poke it in there. So, I will run with you, or run over, goodness, I can't talk today. I will run through how I file these down. I'm going to move these off to the side for right now. Alright, next we are going to take our round nose pliers. Now, to get your bottom loops the exact same size, I've mentioned this a couple times in some other posts and other pages on the site, but what you want to do is, had to pause the video again. Alright, what you want to do is take a marker and just mark the size of the loop that you want. Alright, I already have some notches kind of where I would typically put my wires at, so that's what I use to go from there. So we're going to start at the bottom. Just grab one of your wires. If you want to do two at a time, you can. I prefer not to, so that they get closer to the same size. Alright, so I'm going to go about right here. Is where I like it. And I'm putting it right in between so you can't feel the tip of that wire. It's right in between the jaws of your pliers. And then we're going to bend around. See how I got that? And then we're going to let go and turn it, because I want it to go all the way flush against the stem there. So just get that, right where you want it. And I like to do them both at the same time, just not side by side. Alright, so same spot, about right there is where I like it. Oop. Wiggling around a little bit. Can't feel it. Loop around. Let go, turn your pliers, and then loop it the rest of the way so that it's flush against the stem. Now what I do at this point is I will grab right here where the loop meets with my round nose pliers and bend it back ever so slightly. Bend this tail back ever so slightly. So you have pretty much a straight line going and the loop is centered. So we're going to do the same thing on the other one. Oh goodness. These are some cheap pliers, so they're not doing so hot right now. I can feel them kind of bending in my hands, which is not good. So yeah. Alright, I bent that a little too far, so I'm going to bend it back just a little. There we go. So that's pretty straight, right? Yeah. Alright, so we're already halfway through. What we're going to do now, if you want to add a bead, this is the time to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab a couple beads. Let's see. I'll grab a couple of these brown, these are like a brown silver lined 6/0 seed bead. And these are actually, one is significantly bigger than the other. That's the problem with seed beads. They're never perfect. I'm going to grab another one. Put another one that's approximately the same size as one of these. That's a good size, and that's a good size. I like those. So there they are. Most professionals would have a bead mat down so that your beads aren't rolling around everywhere. I have a bead palette that I use. You'll see that in some other videos I make. But for right now, this is easier for you to see. This is what I'm doing. So we're going to slide that bead on there, like so. Then we are going to take the chain nose pliers and grip right above that bead, just right there. Then in the, well, it really doesn't matter which direction you go, but you do want to go kind of in the same direction your loop is. So I'm going to bend this down a little bit, just ever so slightly, about to that angle right there is good. Okay. I'm going to actually do a little more because that seed bead sliding pretty hard. There. Now it's on there. It's not going anywhere. And then, of course, stop. Do the same thing on the other one. You don't have to do it this way. It's just easier for me to get them both as similar as possible. And go the same direction. About the same distance there. Sorry, I had to do a little tweaking there and got out of camera. So there's that. Now I like to eyeball them, make sure they're kind of bent to the same spot and the loops are the right size. I should have eyeballed it before I put the bead on there too. There you go. And make sure they're about the same. And they look alright to me. The very small differences, of course, aren't going to be noticed anyway. Alright, so we're going to go back to our round nose. Actually, let me show you an easier way of doing this. So there's your basic, big pen right there. Ballpoint pen, cheap, 97 cents at your local store. We're going to place that right up against there, okay? Now we want it turned so that our bead and everything is coming upwards, and then we're going to bend it around the pen. Before I take that one off, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on this one. Whoop. Because I want it to be bent the same distance. So hold it flush up against there and bend around the pen. Alright, and hold them next to each other. Hold them in the same spot. Make sure they're bent the same amount. And slide it off. And check that out. Looks like a perfect little semicircle going on there. Had a hiccup. So, again, I'm going to eyeball it top to bottom. I like to press it in between, or press them in between both fingers. My thumb and index finger. Goodness, can't even use my fingers today. Alright, so they are about the same size. I think that one actually came out a little too far out. So I'm going to bend that just a little bit with my round nose. And get that bend a little closer to where I want it. A lot of tweaking involved when you're making wire jewelry, especially when you need two pieces to match. Alright, so that looks pretty good. I like where that's at. Alright, next thing I'm going to do, and this is we're almost done. Almost completely finished. Sorry, I'm still tweaking. Okay. Next thing we're going to do, take the chain nose. Make sure you got them in the same spot. And I like to add these little curves. What's going on here? There we go. That looks better. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. That bead on there is making it actually very difficult to get them the exact same size. But that's okay. It's like I said, no one's going to notice anyway. Alright, anyway, so I'm going to grip both ear wires in the same spot. This one's sliding down, look at that. Sliding all the way down there. Well, let's grip it this direction instead, and then I can just perfect it. Oh, can't do that either. It's not working out for me right now. So real quick, while I got it, I'm going to bend out. Okay, so those are bent, just like so. And I like where my bends are at. This one needs to be a little higher up, just a hair. There we go. So all I did was kind of grip on top of where I had it bent and, re-bent it that direction. So there's that. Got their nice bends. They're still matching up okay. At least to where I don't mind. And the final step would be to snip, snip, get those tails off. So about half a centimeter down, flush side facing towards your wire. Goodness. We're gonna bend, or not bend, we're gonna snip off those tips. And there you have it. I think I snipped off a little too much of my bend there, so I'm going to add a little more bend. Like I said, a lot of trial and error and a lot of tweaking to get it right where you want it. There we go, yeah, those look good. So there we are. Matching pair of ear wires. And I don't know, eventually I'll figure out what I'm gonna match those with. Alright, so to make sure that they don't get lost or misplaced, I'm gonna take my chain nose pliers, open up one of those loops. And you always want to open your wire loops to the side. You never want to pull outwards, because that puts way too much wear and tear on your wire itself and might cause it to break a lot sooner. And you don't want that. So we're going to slide that other one on there, then slip that back together. Use a chain nose to close it back up and tighten it. Snug it down. And there we have it. And these are going to go in my little baggie of ear wires. Really easy. And now you don't have to spend money buying a bunch of these. You can just make them yourself. Alright, so hope that was helpful. You guys have a nice evening. Hi, I'm sorry. I forgot one thing. I'm going to have to add this to the end of my video. I did say that I was going to run through how to file down the tips of your ear wires so that they're not poking you when you go to put an earring on. Now, there is such a tool called a cut burr. I believe I'm saying that correctly. It's basically just this little tiny round file that you put over the tip of this. And you're going to turn it and it files it down. It's, super cool, super helpful. But a cheaper alternative I learned is to use a nail file. And this is my nail file. You can see it's got some scratches in it from these ear wires. So what I'm going to do is just take one. You can do both at the same time, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to take one and I'm going to just rub that all the way around. I'm going to try and get every angle. And you can feel the difference. You can feel the hard edges. I got a hard edge right there. And I know you can't really see a whole lot of what I'm doing on there, but you get the idea. You don't want that ripping sound. That's bad. That's not good. Filing. And you are going to have some little bits and pieces of chipped wire edges there. So that feels a whole lot better. It's a little more round. If I go this direction, it does feel a little rough, so I'm going to, file that side down. Just feel for it until you're satisfied. And there you have it.